I have often seen my neighbor's son, school-going son, about 8, 9 years old, come home and complain to his mother that somebody who is a little senior to him bullied him, snatched away his tiffin or snatched away his ball, bat, you know. So, what is bullying and why does it happen?
Bullying is what you just described. That somebody who has a superior strength has taken away what rightfully does not belong to him, or has imposed his will on somebody who is belonging to a weaker section. So that is bullying. Why does bullying happen? Bullying happens out of sense of insecurity. So when I am insecure myself, but I don't like to be looked upon as insecure, then I pose as somebody superior. I'm posing as somebody superior. So when I'm hitting somebody smaller, I'm pretty sure that that small guy is not capable of retaliating. And then I spread the impression around that I am superior. So the genesis of bullying is in the sense of insecurity.
No, is it due to inferiority complex?
Also,
That
sometimes
becomes a
it
bully?
could be superiority complex.
But bullying is generally between a superior and an inferior, never between equals.
It's a perception of superiority and inferiority. Sometimes who appears to be inferior can turn out to be superior. Giving you the example of Bruce Lee. If you look at Bruce Lee and his frame, and if you look at Bolo Young, the frames are different. So if Bolo Young is challenging Bruce Lee, it might appear that Bolo Young is bullying
Yes.
Bruce Lee. But that's not the case. So it's again matter of appearances. I feel I'm stronger than you and I can get away by bullying you. And then I suddenly realize I took a bite which is more than what I can chew.
Yes. Now, how does this affect the psyche of the child who has been bullied?
That is the important question, because bullying is destructive. Now let's say I'm junior to you in your college or your institute, or even at the place of work. In place of work also you can get bullied. And you are imposing your so-called superiority on me. My character will determine how I face this bullying. I can either challenge you if I am of that nature, or I can succumb to your bullying and become more timid and more fearful in your presence. Whenever you are present, I become fearful. So there are damaging consequences when the bully succeeds. You gave the example of a school-going child. Now that is a formative period in a child's growth. Not only physically, but also mentally.
Yeah.
When I say mentally, it is both intellectually and emotionally. So there is an intellectual growth that is happening during the period when he is undergoing bullying, and there is an emotional growth that is happening in that same period. If I am bullied and the bully succeeds, then my intelligence, which should have been spent on acquiring knowledge in the various subjects that I am learning at school, a part of that intelligence is being spent on devising methods of how to avoid this bully.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for means and avenues how to confront this bully or avoid this bully. So there is a division of concentration which hampers my intellectual progress. There is an emotional damage in escalation of fear. So I'm fearful of any challenging situation. This time the challenge is represented by the bully. And now I have developed a habit of avoiding the challenge, which will translate into me growing up into an adult who will seek to avoid challenges instead of overcoming challenges.
So he develops a fear complex.
He develops not only the fear complex, he also develops a complex of procrastination, avoidance, inertia, lethargy. So there are multiple consequences of fear generating in an individual.
Through bullying. So how should the child deal with this?
Whenever you are unable to solve the problem yourself, the best solution is to seek assistance from outside. The nearest person to the child at that age, I presume, should be the parents. Not always true, but by and large, it is always the parents who a child can freely confide in, especially the mother. So you should come and say that this is happening in my school. Why many abuses of children happen is because children do not communicate that with their seniors at home. And sometimes the parents are shocked that these things are happening in my child's life and I was not aware.
Yeah.
And you will hear that several times. So always give the comfort level to the child that feel comfortable in coming and confiding in us, whatever be your problem, however serious it may be and however private it may appear to.
The
That
feelings,
confidence has to be developed by the parent in the child. It cannot just happen in the child. You have to create the atmosphere where the child feels comfortable in communicating it. If the child is not comfortable in communicating with the parent, you have lost the child. And you have lost one citizen when he grows up as an adult.
so the feeling of fear is bottled up, doesn't come out. If the
It might come out in a way which is unpalatable to the society. I relate with this example because up to a period in my growing up ages, I was a very fearful child and I was reticent to oppose anybody, especially when that anybody is superior or higher in age, knowledge, or strength. And my quick response in such situation would be to cry, literally cry, till something triggered the spark of retaliation in me. And on one occasion, which is distinctly in my memory, when the bullying occurred by a much senior person, I retaliated violently, physically. And the whole scenario shifted. From a fearful child, I became a fearless adolescent, which developed into a fearless, angry professional, which also had a detrimental effect on my career. Because then it escalated to too much aggression. So you should have a guiding hand to tell you that thus far no further, and not be too meek to be trampled over. And that's where the line of communication with parents is an important feature in a person's growth.
So we find that after school also this bullying takes place in colleges, and then it is called as ragging, and generally it is done jointly. Some people get together and rag one student for some reason or the other and get some vicarious pleasure out of that. So that again affects the psyche of the student who has been ragged. It affects his studies, it affects his health, his marks and his progress in life. So how should that boy deal with this?
It's the same thing again. No, it just the age has changed, the size has changed, the style of bullying has changed. But it is the same thing. You have nobody to confide into or seek assistance, and therefore you are allowing yourself to be bullied. The minute you have assistance, the tables are turned. You neither have assistance at home who will stand up for you, nor do you have assistance in the place where you are going. It could be a college, it could be a school, it could be even your place of work. And you could be bullied at your place of work also. You can see bullying happening in prisons also.
Yes.
So wherever there is a collective, there is a chance of bullying. Because bullying doesn't happen individual to individual. A bully always needs an audience. Without the audience, the bully is ineffective.
What pleasure?
So what pleasure he gets is a separate subject. How to deal with a bully is the subject. So there are two aspects of how to deal with a bully. The person who is bullied, how to deal with that person who is bullied, and how to deal with the bully. These are the two subjects which need to be addressed. The person who is bullied is getting psychologically damaged.
Yes.
So he needs a prop where he has a counter to the bully. And that counter could be in the form of a disciplinary measure, it could be in the form of retaliation, it could be in the form of stricture. The person who is bullying, he also needs help. Why has he become bully? Because he is insecure about something. He has inadequacy in his psyche about something, and therefore he is trying to show to the world that I am not inadequate. I am more than adequate.
It's a psychological.
So it's a psychological counseling. Now, psychological counseling is a double-edged sword because sometimes the counselor doesn't understand the situation and he becomes judgmental, which can be detrimental to either party, either the bully or the bullied. The nearest person to both these people, and I always presume that the parents are nearest, which unfortunately is not true today, they are in the best position to counsel. So bullying doesn't happen on the spur of the moment. It is a slow cultivation of the psyche of the individual to either become a bully or to become bullied. Both are psyches which are developing. One out of insecurity, the other out of fear. You are growing up as a fearful child, you are a subject for being bullied. You are developing as an insecure child who is looking for recognition, you are a subject for becoming a bully. And both these cases can be prevented at the formative ages. Now, the difficulty in today's situation is that both the parents are occupied. The parents have immense pressure on their head in managing their day-to-day affairs. Where is the time to address this subject? So if the parents don't have time, who has the time? Herein comes the other difficulty. Today you are living in nuclear families. If you were in a joint family, maybe the grandparents or the uncles, aunts who were at home would be filling in these gaps. Today there is no one to fill these gaps. So this whole situation is becoming more and more complex, and you will see these situations tending towards disruption in the society. What is divorce? Divorce is a disagreement between two people who agreed to get married. One person feels bullied by the other partner,
Yes.
and therefore it leads to a separation and a divorce.
Correct.
So you will see bullying happening in different aspects of life. And the genesis is right from childhood, fear and insecurity. These two culminate in the bully and the bullied.